Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where today you join me at the home of AMG here in Fulterbach to come and take a look at this. The facelift, the updated AMG E63 S, this being the T-Model, the Estate, the Wagon, however you'd like to call it. Today we're going to take a look at what I suspect is probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, daily driving cars out there and talk about all the changes and updates that they've made to the E63 S. The car that we're looking at here is the new and improved E63 S. This is a very highly spec'd car in the exclusive colour of Magno Brilliant Blue. It's also the T-Model, T-Model being the German word for what us Brits would call the Estate, or the Wagon for the Americans. The car is of course available as the saloon or sedan, and more recently also as the coupe and cabriolet. Now my first experience with the pre-facelift E63 S was a day at Portimao Circuit in Portugal about 3 or 4 years ago, where I got to experience how it is a car that is practical, loaded with technology. You could transport the whole family. In this case, obviously, you've got lots of room for your luggage or carrying a pet around in the boot, whatever it might be. But it also has Mercedes-AMG's very trick 4MATIC Plus system for the four-wheel drive, which means you can uncouple the front axle and send all of the power just to the rear wheels in the drift mode if you want to have a lot of fun. Of course, for maximum performance with four-wheel drive, you can do the race start, launch control 0 to 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour is only a touch over 3 seconds, and it will get a complete move on as well if you're out here on the de-restricted autobahns, for example. But where it really excels is through this technology. Now for the updated version, it has an entirely new front end. Everything from A-pillars forwards has been updated to bring it into line with the rest of the family. And for example, we have two cars right here, the AMG GT R plus the CLA 45, and you will see they've both got that front grille, that A-shaped surround with the Panamericana style grille, now carried through into the E63 S. The pre-facelift was one of the last AMG models that arrived before this grille was introduced, which came first, I think, a couple of months later with the arrival of the AMG GT R. So the E63 S and the E63 models versus the rest of the E-Class family, the E53s and other models, for example, have this entirely different front. For example, the bonnet has these power bulges, giving emphasis to the sportiness of the car. The fenders around here, or the quarter panels, the front corners, however you'd like to call them, are widened, significantly wider track, in fact, to house obviously the wider wheels and tyres that you have up front. And obviously the apron itself, the lower sections of the front, have been completely updated. So the grille sits taller than on the E53, for example, which would come up to just a little bit before. This is of course for cooling through towards the front. You've got the intercoolers in here, all cooling and airflow that comes through the car, obviously maximized and redesigned to work that. You've also got new headlights, the LED lights up front, Mercedes-Benz lights, now in the multi-beam LEDs with two eyes almost, you could say, on each side, and that eyebrow that cuts in over the top of them. We're expecting to see 2 in the E-Class, 3 in the new S-Class, probably 1 in the next generation C-Class, giving a bit of a distinction between the different models in the whole lineup by the headlights, by the eyes of the car, one of the most prominent features that of course you notice when you're looking or take a quick glance at a new model. This colour, Magno Brilliant Blue, we've seen on a few models. It was launched as the halo colour for the AMG GT 4-door, which itself is based on the E-Class platform. So it made sense to make something exclusive as well, brought into the E-Class, or the E63 and E63 S. You can't have this colour on any of the other models. Of course, it's not quite as understated as if you had the car in silver or black, or something a bit more subtle, which might be more in line with the daily driver almost usage. As we come around towards the back, the tail lights have also been updated. You've got all these different LEDs inside. The major changes have been on the saloon as opposed to on the T-Model, the Estate, in that the saloon now has the 2-part tail light as we see here, including on the boot lid, where before it was just around the corners, giving a bit more width really to the car overall. And that is emphasised again. If we come down here, check out these ruffled exhaust trapezoid shapes that you have for the tips. Really sporty, really cool. The AMG logo as well on the inside of those in the satin titanium finish. And you've got that chrome piece over the top, that silver piece, which previously went beneath, and we've got a completely different diffuser as well actually. This is the normal configuration. You can have the night pack, which would darken out some of those parts like that strip. It would darken out the window surrounds all the way around. Also this blade piece that you have by the V8 logo just there, and as well the splitter down at the very bottom of the front. Obviously we've also got the new wheels fun fact, these wheels in the dual tone have the Himalaya grey paint there, being the exact colour that previously my SLS Black Series was painted before I resprayed it. And on these, we've got the carbon ceramics with those gold calipers as well, distinctly gold on most of the AMG models to represent the carbon ceramic upgrade. We're going to go through this interior in quite a bit more detail though. Most importantly, because I'd like to take a look at this new steering wheel. My first time really seeing the new AMG Performance wheel. I want to talk through how all of this works, but also the car has the MBUX system, which obviously very cleverly allows you to literally use natural spoken language and talk to it and ask it to do various commands, which all operates very, very neatly as well. Obviously, this being a daily driver, being a practical car, we've got plenty of space back here. In fact, we've got loads of space. I've put that seat into my position and I'm amazed at how much room we've got. This is nut brown, the leather of the interior, very nice materials, obviously carbon fiber inlays. We've got the upgraded Burmester sound system. And then at the back, we also have, if we open this up, the powerful tailgate and some car covers, but plenty of space, as you can see. Obviously, this actually giving us a good demo of quite how much you can fit in here with the automated load cover over the back and your buttons to release the seats and drop those down should you require as well. Close that back down for the moment, always convenient. Oh, I failed to close the rear door properly. But let's come through and just fire this into life and have a quick run through of some of this. The main thing in here though is of course this new steering wheel. Well, let's bring the car into life. It is a boiling hot day, and also I've left it kind of parked for a little bit too long, so we don't want any problems. But as you look around, the inlays, the materials, it's all very, very nicely finished. That whole carbon fiber central console piece that you have as well. And then these new larger dashboard displays, the Super Sport display in front of us. You can configure and change a lot of this. And like I said, you can literally talk to it. Hey Mercedes,
how can I help?
change the light color to white.
Okay, I'm changing the color.
And this changes all the lighting that you'd see around the car. I changed it to blue as a test just before, so putting it back to white now. And you also have this trim piece that runs along here with the illumination through the inside of it. So you've got these large screens, and also now this one is a touch screen, so you can obviously interact with it and change various things. Plus we have the AMG track pace, which is, I guess, a bit of a sense of the character of the E63 S, and you can now get this on the E63 non-S model. There's the option to have the AMG Dynamics package, which introduce a whole host of new updates. But the track pace, I mean, it's a brilliant system. Obviously you need to be on a racetrack. Doesn't want us to be using it when we're on the road, but you can load a track. I think I just clicked the Hockenheim ring, it will get that up and it knows when you cross the start line. Really, really clever system that I've used on my GTR Pro. AMG Performance brings up some nice data displays and screens and allows you to set up the dynamic select, which you can configure, control as well through the new steering wheel. We'll get to that in just a moment. So this is all very nice, very clever. MBUX is really one of the leading systems when it comes to these things in terms of the options and what you've got available there. But let's talk about this, the AMG Performance steering wheel. Now looks can be deceiving. I thought in pictures it looked like quite a big wheel, but it's actually very small. It has a chunky grip, and this is something I suspect we're going to see on a lot of AMG models going forwards. You've got those double bars out to the side, almost in a way like the former E63's front grille. It's got a much larger Mercedes star over the airbag in the center, but you've got all these touch buttons that are integrated. So for example, up here you control the driver's screen, and on this side you control the central infotainment. But through this you can press home, for example, and it will bring up the different menus, screens, and here you can even bring in the track pace. You can change the sports and the styles of display through the different, for example, if you wanted a more classic appearance, and you control all of this by scrolling up and pressing on there. You can go to the classic display, which gives you the more traditional dual view that you might expect. You've got lots and lots of configuration that you can do through this. I'm a big fan of that kind of thing because I love being able to set the car up exactly to my heart's desire, which this lets you do really nicely. Then beneath that you've got your cruise control commands on the left, obviously new sensors. The steering wheel has a new upgraded system in terms of the autonomous kind of basic level driving, how it will keep you in lane, that kind of thing. Then over on the right you've got your media controls. But one of the biggest changes are these new round instant hotkey access buttons, where you can now go through your different driving modes on an updated higher resolution digital display, but also both round. Previously the one on the left was a slightly odd shape. Here, for example, if you go up from comfort to sport, it tells us as well what's going on. Sport Plus, revs go up, exhaust valves open, and we've got race. And if you have the AMG Dynamics package on the non-S, you also now get the race mode available too. And then on the left, you can change what they do, but we've currently got suspension and exhaust. If, let's say, we press up here, now we've got drive, we can go into manual, we've got the 9-speed AMG speed shift gearbox. So the engine and powertrain side of things is just as it was before. We will go and have a quick look at it in a moment. But we've now got the slightly updated controls on the steering wheel, also with a flat bottom. I think it's a really nice steering wheel, actually. I'm impressed with what they've done with that. So all works very well, I would say, on that front. Inside, your gear selector is up there over the top, and a really kind of nice upgrade. I mean, couldn't really go wrong with all of those changes. I think that was a good way to go. Just notice we've got a lot of glass roof up above us. We've got the sunroof in the front and also an additional roof over the rear passengers. And we've also got the performance seats, which are very firm. I'm not gonna lie, I've never been the biggest fan of these seats because they are solid, but they don't take up much room and give a lot of space in the back for the rear occupants. If we just pull open the bonnet and go have a look at that very quickly. We'll step back on out. Like I said, the car still has the 4-litre Biturbo V8. In this car, it makes the full 612 horsepower and 850 Newton meters in total, so no lack of power and go. And in fact, that was one of the things I remember experiencing at the time, that a car of this nature, the daily driver, saloon or estate, could get a move on quite that quickly. Mercedes-AMG were very almost ahead of the game with a system that's now four-wheel drive switchable system that's now becoming available elsewhere as well. But this, the power plant assembled here by AMG in a Falterback, the beating heart of the car, and a very, very good one at that as well. Close that back down with a firm press. So I love this look, this wide front end, these aggressive arches, having this grille in line with the rest of the family. And up here you can see as well, this is the adaptive cruise control sensor, also the emergency braking assist functionality. We've got the cameras, the 360 surround cameras underneath the mirrors as well, and around the rear. All the functionality you would expect and hope that a car like this might offer. It does exactly what you would expect. And that makes it pretty much the ideal cool daily driver. I mean, maybe not, as I said, in Magno Brilliant Blue. I understand the exclusivity angle, having that color now available on this model. Perhaps something, you know, like a silver or a black might be more discreet and more daily usable from that perspective, but I do think this looks good, and I really, really like the upgrades that have been made to this front. The way it has this nose, almost like that of a shark nose, the way it's leaned over, it's poised, it's ready for attack. It's a very sporty appearance, a very dynamic look for a car that, well, if it drives anything like I expect, and that has been improved as well, then it's probably going to be something quite fantastic. And on that a little bit more, one of the things that I experienced with the E63, as many others did, and customers, for example, was that at the soft end, in comfort mode, it was also pretty firm. It wasn't that soft. They've now enhanced the comfort end while making it still just as dynamic when you're in Sport Plus. So the breadth of ability has been widened by increasing its amount of comfort, which is something very welcome, I think, also into the E63 S. So this has been a bit of an intro then to this car. I'm curious what you guys think. Is that pretty much the ultimate daily? There's always something really cool about a very fast estate, a fast wagon. You know, the likes of the older 5 Series Tourings and the RS6s, and obviously the E-classes as well. Something pretty epic about them. I think this looks really nice too. So, new E63 S T-Model, a first full look from me, and quite an interesting car that I'd love to find out more about, because you never know, that could be an option in the future. Well, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, I appreciate your support, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!